Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are at the last leg of tour of the development of gastrointestinal system. Today's lecture would end the series of the study of the development of GI tract. In today's lecture, we'll discuss how the mesenteries, which are connecting the stomach, the small intestine, and large intestine, etc., to the posterior abdominal wall. We'll discuss how they develop. Along with, we'll also discuss the development of the spleen, which is most relevant over here because that develops in relation to the mesenteries. So what the mesenteries are: double layer of peritoneum that encloses an organ and connect it to the body wall. This is how defined mesenteries. It is a double layer of peritoneum that encloses an organ and connect it to the body wall. What is the function? They provide pathways for vessels, nerves, and lymphatics to and from the organ enclosed. So the organ which is enclosed in the mesentery provides pathway for its blood supply, for its nerve supply, and for the lymphatic drainage. Through it, the nervous pathways and the vascular pathways and the lymphatic pathways, they run. Last lecture, in which we studied how the peritoneum or the body cavities, they are formed. If you have gone through, you must be aware of these pictures. This is a very initial picture in which the yolk sac is incorporated into the body during folding. The cranial folding encloses the part of the gut known as the foregut, and the caudal folding encloses the part of the gut that is known as the hindgut. And what is left behind in the middle, that is the midgut, and that is connected to the yolk sac by a vitello-intestinal duct, which later on is closed up, and there is no remnant except in 2% of cases in which is known as the Meckel's diverticle. This is last time we discussed. So the craniocaudal folding encloses the part of the yolk sac in the name of the gut, while the lateral folding, this is the lateral folding, that encloses a space known as the intraembryonic coelom or intraembryonic cavity, which is a future peritoneal cavity. Now the gut starts suspended to the posterior abdominal wall by this fold of subpancreatic mesenchyme known as the dorsal mesentery when this folding is completed. So in the beginning, the gut is in broad contact with the posterior abdominal wall. This connection narrows into a double fold of mesenchymal tissue known as dorsal mesentery in the week 5. As you see over here, progressively, as the folding is being completed, this gut is sucked into the this space for the intraembryonic coelom, but itself it gets suspended from the post-abdominal wall by this double fold of mesenchyme known as the dorsal mesentery. So what is the extent of the dorsal mesentery? From where to where it extends? This picture shows just below, when the diaphragm is formed and the esophagus is there and the gastrointestinal system starts from here, mid-gut loop, hindgut. So this all is connected to the posterior wall of the developing abdomen by this red fold of mesenchyme. In the upper part of the abdomen, in this region, this is connected to the anterior developing abdominal wall as well. But from here to here, in rest of the part of the gut, it is not. So the dorsal mesentery extends from the lower end of the esophagus to the end of the hindgut. If the question is there, what is the extent of the dorsal mesentery? It extends from the entry of the esophagus into the abdominal cavity, or from the upper part of the stomach down all along the gastrointestinal tract to the end of the hindgut. This dorsal mesentery is called what is dorsal mesogastrium or greater omentum in the region of the stomach. So in the region of the stomach, the dorsal mesentery is known as the dorsal mesogastrium or greater omentum. In the region of the duodenum, here it is known as the mesoduodenum. Okay, so mesogastrium, mesoduodenum. And in the region of the jejunum and ileum, it is known as the mesentery proper. You see over here? And in the region of the colon, it is known as the dorsal mesocolon. So the dorsal mesentery is named after the organ to which it is attached. Here it is dorsal mesogastrium. Here it is dorsal mesoduodenum. Here it is mesentery proper. And here it is dorsal mesocolon. The structure is the same, but region-wise, it is named different. Here it is dorsal mesogastrium. It is mesoduodenum here, and mesentery proper here, and mesocolon here. Okay. As in the opening remarks, I told, in the upper part of the gastrointestinal tract, the organs, they are connected to the anteabdominal wall as well. And this is known as the ventral mesentery. So in the region of the terminal esophagus here, the stomach and upper part of the duodenum, there exists ventral mesentery as well. And it is formed by the wedging of the septum transversum between the developing heart and the neck of the yolk sac, the region where it is going to develop two important structures, known as the liver as well as the diaphragm. So here it also forms attachment to the stomach, to the anterior abdominal wall. Okay. Its attachment to the anterior wall of the abdomen is interrupted by the developing liver over here. So between the liver and the stomach, it is known as the lesser omentum. The ventral mesentery between the stomach and the liver is known as the lesser omentum. And between the liver and the anterior abdominal wall, it is known as the falciform ligament. So the part of the ventral mesentery is divided into lesser omentum and falciform ligament by the development of the diaphragm, by the development of the liver over here. You know, behind the stomach, there is a small space known as the lesser sac or omentum. How it is formed? The stomach, you know, rotates along its long axis while it's developing. It carries the dorsal mesentery towards left. When it rotates along the long axis, it will carry the dorsal mesentery towards the left. A space thus is created behind the stomach, which is known as the lesser sac or omental bursa. So how the omental bursa or the lesser sac is created? By the movement or the rotation of the stomach along long axis. It carries the dorsal mesentery towards the left and creates a space behind the stomach known as the omental bursa or the lesser sac. Now, this is another view. Here the longitudinal section, and it is the transverse section over here. Half transverse section you see. In the center is the stomach. Here it is the lesser omentum. It is the developing liver. And here it is the falciform ligament. And here it is the dorsal mesogastrium, attaching the stomach by the dorsal mesogastrium to the posterior abdominal wall. Now, spleen develops in the dorsal mesogastrium by the proliferation of the cells of the mesentery found in the layers of the dorsal mesogastrium. So where the spleen develops? The spleen develops in the dorsal mesogastrium by the proliferation of the mesenchymal cells found in the layer of the dorsal mesogastrium. During its development, keeping dorsal attachment intact. Okay, look, this is dorsal, keeping it intact. The continued rotation of the stomach lengthens the dorsal mesogastrium. As a result of rotation, the left surface of the mesogastrium fuses with the peritoneum over the left kidney. The posterior leaf of the dorsal mesogastrium and peritoneum along the line of fusion degenerate. It is coming over here, left leaf, it degenerates. This is the reason the spleen's attachment to the dorsal body wall in the region of the kidney by a ligament known as the lienorenal ligament. So rotation of the stomach carries the spleen towards the left side, but keeps it attached to the posterior wall of the abdomen by a ligament known as the lienorenal ligament in front of the developing kidney, and to the stomach by a ligament known as the gastrosplenic or gastrorenal ligament. The spleen's attachment to the posterior wall of the abdomen just above the kidney is through the lienorenal ligament, and to the stomach is through the gastrosplenic ligament or gastrorenal ligament. It is nothing but the part of the dorsal mesentery. While the stomach rotates, it makes these two ligaments after rotation. The mesenchymal cells of the dorsal mesentery, they form the parenchyma, the main mass of the spleen, connective tissue framework, and the capsule of the spleen. So there may be a question in the examination: what is the origin of the parenchyma or the connective tissue or the capsule of the spleen? The answer would be the mesenchymal cells differentiating from the dorsal mesentery. The function, it acts as a hemopoietic organ until late in fetal life. However, lymphocytes, monocyte production continues throughout life. So the hemopoietic function stops at the end of the fetal life, while the production of the lymphocytes and monocytes, that continues throughout life. Now we'll discuss how the greater omentum and the lesser omentum, they are formed. See, that is the dorsal mesentery. Dorsal mesogastrium, it is forming the greater omentum. As the stomach rotates on anteroposterior axis, anteroposterior axis somewhere over here, it is coming down, and it is this end is coming up. So that would be the anteroposterior axis. The greater omentum, that grows as a double layered sac, like an apron, in front of the transverse colon and the coils of the small intestine. So the rotation of the stomach on anteroposterior axis carries the greater omentum or the dorsal mesogastrium forward and makes a double layered sac known as the greater omentum. Later on, its layers fuse together to make a single sheet hanging from the greater curvature of the stomach. Its posterior layer also fuses with the mesentery of the transverse colon, which is known as the meso. Now the mesentery proper, attaching the small intestine to the posterior abdominal wall, that is the mesentery proper mesentery. So the mesentery or the dorsal mesentery in the region of the small intestine, that we call it as mesentery proper. Through it runs the superior mesenteric artery to supply blood to the developing small intestine. The mesentery makes a twist around the origin of the artery. When the caudal limb of the midgut loop shifts towards the right side during anti-clockwise rotation. So there is a twist in the mesentery due to the anti-clockwise rotation of the developing gut. When the ascending and the descending colons obtain their final position, their mesenteries, they are pressed against the peritoneum of the posterior abdominal wall. Finally, when the rotation is complete and the ascending and the descending colon, they are at their proper place, they are attached to the posterior abdominal wall. After the fusion, the ascending and the descending colons are anchored to the posterior abdominal wall, and we call it as they are now in the retroperitoneal position. No more mesentery, but attached directly to the posterior abdominal wall by the absorption of the mesentery of those regions. The mesentery of the transverse colon, called transverse mesocolon, persists. Here mesentery and here they are resolved so that the ascending and the descending colons are attached, looks attached to the posterior abdominal wall. But here in the region of the transverse colon, the mesentery exists, which is known as the transverse mesocolon. And it is because of this that the colon, the mid colon, that remains in movement, that is mobile, while the ascending and the descending colons, they are no more mobile. They are fixed to the posterior abdominal wall because the attaching mesentery is absorbed and they are attached to the posterior abdominal wall. The mesentery of the appendix, this one, the mesentery of the cecum, and that of the sigmoid colon also persist. Therefore, these organs remain motile. The sigmoid colon is motile. You can move from here to here. And the appendix, you can move from here to here. And the cecum, you can move from here. With this, we reach the end of the study. You can answer these questions. How the greater and the lesser omentums, they are formed. How the proper mesentery is designed. And you can discuss or describe the origin and the development of the spleen. Okay. So open the book today. If you have listened it properly, and if you open the book today, read it out, I'm sure you will understand how the mesenteries, they are formed in our body. With this, we reach the end of the lecture. Enjoy this picture. Thank you very much indeed.